Hello, my name is Dr. George DeLong. I'm the Global Technology Manager for Suez Water Technologies and Solutions, located in the Houston, Texas area. Originally, I was an organometallic chemist, worked in research. In the last 10 years, I've been a manager here for Suez. My story with Genesis BioHealth kind of really begins, I think, in about 2011 when I was diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia, which is a form of blood cancer. It was discovered early on when I went for a physical. During that time, my oncologist put me on what they call a watch and wait approach, to where you're generally having blood tests done periodically to monitor your cancer over a period of time, since CLL is a slow-growing form of cancer. It was about 3 years after I was first diagnosed with CLL. In about 2014, a colleague and friend of mine, Dr. Colin Cross, started telling me about some discoveries he'd had in researching the effects of different types of vitamins, especially vitamin K2 and magnesium. He was starting to really believe and uncover through research that there was effects associated with these vitamins that help your body's immune system, basically, and really affects the enzymes that help to regulate this whole immune process. Dr. Cross gave me some research articles. I read through them. I understood them to a degree. I'm not a clinical researcher, but I could understand the physiological components and what they were getting at. And he convinced me at that time to try to start taking some of these supplements to see if it would help affect, my immune system and help me fight the leukemia. I started the regimen, and about 4 months later, after I started taking K2 and magnesium, that I went back for a follow-up blood test. And it was the only time in 4 years that my lymphocytes and my white blood cell counts actually dropped, a significant drop over that 4 period of time. Again, not long after I had started this regimen of these vitamin supplements. So I continued to take them. Unfortunately, not long after that time, I started to have some more physical ailments associated with the leukemia, and my oncologist and I decided that I would go into a regimen of chemotherapy. I was originally slated to have 6 rounds of chemotherapy that were spaced out every 2 weeks. So during this time, I kept my regimen. Again, was really kind of a high dose of K2 and magnesium. I kept this during my chemotherapy. After my first round of chemotherapy, my white blood cell count and my lymphocytes dropped dramatically from about 95% of where they were. I went through 2 more rounds of the scheduled 6 rounds of chemotherapy, and after that time, based on the remarkable response, as my oncologist said, we decided to stop the chemotherapy treatment at that time and didn't finish the other 3 rounds that were scheduled. Since then, 3 years later, I am now in complete remission. Every 6 months I go for a blood checkup, and again, there's no sign of the existing cancer leukemia in my body. I now still continue to take a regimen of K2 magnesium, not at the higher dosages I did prior to my cancer. However, I've also supplemented that now with A and with D3, again at the encouragement of Dr. Cross, and I truly believe he understands the physiological responses of these vitamins. So I have complete faith and trust in his understanding and what he's telling me. And again, to this day, I am not showing any sign of cancer. I've recently kind of started to tell my story, and I really feel it's something I owe to the world to help them understand what I believe helped me through my chemotherapy, and that is, I truly believe there is some kind of synergistic effect that these vitamin supplements had on the success of my chemotherapy. So I'm trying to reach out to different clinical oncologists to try to help them to maybe start to understand if there could be potential benefits with chemotherapy regimes that are currently being in use to supplement them with these supplements to help out and potentially, help out in terms of the abilities for your immune response to improve the overall response to the chemotherapy. To this day, Dr. Cross is still a good friend of mine. He's a colleague of mine. I owe him a tremendous amount, and I really truly believe in what he says, his knowledge of this, and in Genesis BioHealth. And I truly still believe that there's a great ability for this to help out in the fight against cancer.